Burnett out front. Tomorrow at 7, only on...
The mistake of my first couple of years was thinking that this job was just about getting the policy right. And that's important. But, you know, the nature of this office is also to tell a story to the American people that gives them a sense of unity and purpose and optimism, especially during tough times.
President Obama on CBS talking to Charlie Rose about mistakes he's made during his presidency, and we'll get to that in a moment. Now I want to bring in two men who have a lot to say about the president, the race for the White House, and race in America. Tavis Smiley Cornel West, a co-host of Smiley and West from Public Radio International, and co-authors of The Rich and the Restless. Welcome to you both.
Good to see you, Piers.
You're separated, but only by an expanse of water and mountains. Nothing that can stop us today. Let me go to you, Tavis, straight away, about what Barack Obama said today. In other words, it's not just about the policy, it's about the way you sell it. Has he got a point? Is he right?
He has a point, but people have been making that point to him for 3 years now. It's always been so amazing to me, and Dr. West and I make this point, I think, in the book, The Rich and the Rest of Us, that the way he campaigned so brilliantly, it's hard to think of a campaign, Piers, run more brilliantly than the Obama campaign 3 or 4 years ago. They stayed on message, they controlled the narrative, brilliant campaign. Somehow when they got to Washington, they got off message, they've not been able to get back on track, as it were. Now, of course, you and I both understand that campaigning and governing are two different things, so this is not maybe the first time he has acknowledged this, but everybody else in Washington's been saying this for a couple of years now.
Cornel, let me turn to you about this sort of debate going on about whether he was right or wrong, or whether it mattered at all that he didn't attend the NAACP convention. He hasn't done for the last 3 years. Mitt Romney went, and we'll listen to what happened to him there in a moment. Does it matter? I mean, the latest poll about his presidential approval rating from July 2nd to the 8th of this year, so right as current as it could be, says the black approval rating for him 87%, white 37%, a Gallup poll. Pretty conclusive there that the black vote appears to be as strong as it's ever been for Barack Obama. So does it matter that he didn't go to that convention?
I think that on the one hand he should have been there, but the issue is so much deeper than whether he should have been there or not. The issue is democracy is dying in America because truth, justice, and compassion are dying. And when he talks about telling American people a story, no, it's not telling a story. It's respecting people enough to tell them the truth so that they can discern their suffering and their hope in the story. The problem is too much mendacity going around, Republicans and Democrats. Again, Brother Tavis and I are the first ones to say the Democrats much better than Republicans, but Mitt Romney, catastrophe. Barack Obama, 3 years for poor people and working people, disaster. Disaster is better than catastrophe, but what a choice. It's sad.
Let's watch the clip of Mitt Romney and discuss it after this. This is where he gets booed at the convention.
I'm going to eliminate every non-essential, expensive program I can find. That includes Obamacare, and I'm going to work to reform and save...
Now, Tavis, you mouthed the word stupid there. Is it so stupid? Surely Mitt
You weren't
Romney's...
supposed to say that on air.
No, I know, but I wasn't sure if you were going to say it on air, so I thought I'd jump in first. Everything's on air here, baby.
I feel like Robert Blake now. Got to be careful what I say around here. No, when I said stupid, all I meant to suggest was... and this is the problem that candidates have oftentimes, and the same can be said of Obama, that can be said of Romney. We all saw that picture a few months ago of the Obama campaign staff in Chicago, white, 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 white. And there was great conversation about why the president doesn't have more people of color around him in running his campaign. It's one thing to beg black folk for their vote, but who's running the operation? Dr. West made the point any number of times. The advisors around him in the White House came directly from Wall Street. Is it any wonder then that they look out for their friends on Wall Street? The same can be said of Mitt Romney. When you don't have enough African Americans around you who have a conscience, this is what happens. Who in their right mind would go to a black convention of the NAACP and use the phrase Obamacare? He still could have made his very point by calling the legislation by its official name. He got booed for using that phrase Obamacare.
Is that right, though?
It's just a bad decision.
He got booed for the phrase, or because actually a lot of the people in the audience like Obamacare, whatever you want to call it.
This is a very respectful audience. Other Republicans have spoken before. If he'd gone and said, ladies and gentlemen, I know what I'm about to say we disagree on. I ask for your attention. You've heard so much about what I think about this in the media. Let me now respectfully thank you for the invitation, and let me offer you now why I disagree with the president on this issue. There would have been no booing.
Now, Mitt Romney went to Montana and made a statement about the booing episode. He said if they want more stuff from the government, tell them to go vote for the other guy, more free stuff, but don't forget, nothing is really free. Tavis, what did you make of that?
It smacks of Ross Perot some years ago, referring to black folk as you people. So one day he goes there and closes the speech, and I'm paraphrasing by saying, I want to earn your respect. I want you to respect me, even though we may disagree. The next day, he's referring to them as they. If they want this, if they want that. This is ridiculous. Here's the problem. Whether you're talking Obama or Romney, one of them, how might I put this? One of them is so cautious that he can't lead because he's afraid of losing. The other is so calculating that he can't lead because he's afraid of not winning. And that's the real problem, that everybody is trying to score points here. And so your question you asked of Dr. West a moment ago may be borne out by what he had to say today. Maybe you're right.
Final question for you, Cornel West. Despite all this, do you believe that Barack Obama has earned the right to have a second term, that maybe he has learned some lessons about leadership and how to take on the Republicans?
I think given the narrowness of the political system and the truncated options that most Americans have, there's no doubt that Barack Obama is better than Mitt Romney. But as I said before, catastrophe, your house is burning down nearly. Disaster, it's on fire. When Martin Luther King said, are we integrating into a burning house? He said, we need firemen. Neither provide the kind of firemen and firewomen we need to recoup, renew, and reinvigorate democracy for poor people, prisoners, working people, women, gays, lesbians. It's not special interests, it's truth, justice, and compassion. Those are the three pillars of any serious democracy. We are in deep trouble.
Tavis Smiley, finally, I can't let you go without mentioning Robert Blake. You and I are the only people to have interviewed him in about the last decade. You did so recently for PBS. What did you make of it?
I think Tom Israel was right early in this program. I think that he is troubled for all the right reasons. You would be too if you had to endure what he had to endure. But ultimately, I think quickly what he needs to do is to, if he wants to get back in the business, I can't imagine in this town that there isn't somebody who, for all sorts of reasons, wouldn't give him a part in a movie. If you want to get back in the business, then get back in the business and work your way back in. But I think what he ought to do respectfully is, one, respectfully, don't trust people like Piers Morgan. For that matter, he's like, I trust you. Oh, come on, Robert. Don't trust Piers Morgan. Don't trust me. Don't trust any interviewer. What he ought to do respectfully is to stay out of the interview chair and work his way back, as any artist would, through the process, not by these interviews. It's not, it's not serving him well, quite frankly.
I think the jury's out. I watched it back on television last night. I was aghast. I was entertained. I was shocked. I was scared again, even though I wasn't even in the same room as him. But at the end of it, I couldn't decide if this was going to be a good thing for him going forward or a bad thing. I kind of ended up thinking it can't get any worse. Yeah, and that actually he may get a role out of this. And if he does, then I wish him well. Cornel?
I was glad to see the show. It was riveting television. Tavis's interview, of course, was just a classic one. Your interview last night was magnificent in many ways because he was being himself. And I love that about him. He's for real. And what we need in America is the real thing. Too many counterfeits circulating.
So maybe we should be looking towards having him in a late run for the presidential race.
No, I wouldn't go that far. No.
It's the real deal.
We need to put him back on the set. As he said last night, he wants one last film. Listen, Hollywood.
Since it's more of an auction than an election anyway, you got enough money? Get in. Yeah.
We'll leave it with President Robert Blake. Tavis Cornel, as always, thank you very much. Coming next, actor and comedian John Leguizamo joins me for much more than laughs as he talks politics, the president, and immigration.